profounder flames. This right here is an embodied form of the violet ray spectrum.
Tap in and tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. Live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Grand Rising with ChristoLight, your sacred space for discovering the Ascended Masters in crystal healing. Ashe.
And the shamanic experiences, practices, whatever, is called soul retrieval. And I think there's a whole other experience that happens, and it is about passion returning. What happens is people start feeling a little bit lost or disoriented, or they feel like they got to change something in their lives, or something feels like wants to come back to them. Sometimes people have childhood memories or adult memories, something that feels like, gosh, I just want people to hear me, as an example. Or, gosh, I just wish that I could express myself. Those are some of the language around the concept of soul retrieval. Or people who've had accidents. Sometimes in an accident, what happens is, in order to survive the accident, the person will shoot their spirit out and go numb and just get through the accident. Many times people say, I don't remember the accident, and it's because their spirits aren't fully in their bodies. Sometimes a trauma that happened at childhood can bring back the desire to remember who you really are. Something feels empty or lacking. And my experience with what I call your passion returning has to do with, that's exactly what happens. It's a happiness, an awareness of who you are that returns. An example is this. When I was I had a journey one time when I was about 3 years old, and my daddy would say to me, stop doing that. And the stop doing that had to do with talking to the nature spirits. As a 3-year-old child, I was just in love with everything around me. You know, the grass, the trees, the birds, the bees, all of it. Well, my daddy didn't particularly care for me talking to all these unseen spirits, and he would say, stop it. And to get his point across, at one time he spanked me. He began to spank me. And when he would spank me, of course, the impression for a 3-year-old, for myself, was that there was punishment related to the spiritual world. And when I went into a sacred journey place and looked at that picture, I realized I no longer had to do it my daddy's way. So in that experience, I claimed myself again. And it was like the whole spiritual world opened up again. The world of the unseen just came out to life experience and listening again. So that's an example of something that can happen in our world, that something that happened as a child, we put it away because it's not accepted. It's looked at as something other than appropriate. You know, how many children, people I've heard speak of their childhood saying things like, well, my creative energy was never allowed. And here's another story. The stories tell it better. There was a lady who came to me, who's about 35 years of age, and she remembered 2 things. One was, when she was 6 years old, something happened, and when she was 11 years old, she could remember that this boy got in the back seat of a car with her. Or the boy got her in the back seat of the car. So, I usually drum and take us into this quiet place, and when we went into the spiritual world, the visioning part, I saw this young boy standing in front of a cave. And I asked the person laying next to me, do you know who this is? And she said, yes, I do. When I was 6 years of age, I gave him my creative energy to hold for me. And I thought it was beautiful that she even had that awareness at 6. So anyway, I I said to her, would you let him know that you're here to receive your creative energy and thank him for doing his job? And the moment she did that, that energy that showed himself as a little boy moved out of the way, and there was a cave behind him. So when we explored the cave, and this is in the spirit world, of course, there was this little girl in the back of the cave just cowered down and just wanting to be loved. And what I remember of that journey is there was a cat that came in and started playing with this self-essence. And in the process of it, the little girl knew what was happening. I always ask the aspect of the person if they're ready to come home, and ask the person if they're ready for that aspect of themselves to come home. And she said yes. So the light of who this child was just entered her body. You know, it came in on the cat and it entered her heart space and just filled her with the light. I could see it. And at the same moment, almost the same moment, that the light came back in her, she remembered what that boy said. And the boy said, "You better not tell." And the moment she released that place in her throat, the light filled her throat. And it was this lovely experience of seeing this light just flow through this being's self. And afterwards, she looked 10 years younger. And she just felt like she could now go do her artistic, creative thing that she loved and really wanted to do, and did. And that she no longer had to hold that question mark about what happened with that boy at 11. So those are some of the things that happen in what the shamanic practices call soul retrieval. And it really was for her passion returning. The passion of her creative energy came back for her. It was lovely. So that's what I feel like happened. And for me personally, there have been time after time of just waking up and feeling like I have my self-worth, my self-dignity, my awareness of who I am just return over and over again. And so that's the experience of a soul gathering or a soul retrieval.
How do you achieve this? What is the form?
Well, somebody usually comes to me, or I go to wherever they are, and it's a very gentle thing of lying down on the floor, and I would usually touch their elbows, so I have a physical contact with them. And I explain to them what's going to happen, and I drum, and I call on the spiritual world to assist us. The person's guides, my guides, the spirits who probably are already present, and those who will enhance this experience happening. So we get still and our bodies get quiet, and then in some quiet place, there's all of a sudden an awareness of a vision that comes forth. So I usually have the person speak out loud and I speak out loud so we can be in harmony of what's happening. We can hear the adventures that we're both having. And in the adventure, it's like the spirits guide the whole way. The spiritual world directs what happens, or the images that come. And then in speaking the images, the person knows what happens, I know what happened, and then when the experience is complete, the lights return, the passion's back, and we close it very gently, and the person goes home and just allows that integration to happen. And it's, I don't know any other way to compare it, except that it's like whenever something beautiful returns, there's a period of integration where the cell's kind of been cleaned up. It's like cleaning the cable on a battery. You take a brush and you clean it up real good so the contact's good. So in that's what kind of happens with the cell. It gets kind of reamed out, and the contact happens again with this passion in a person's life. That's the gist. It's basically a journey.
Hello, hello, grand day. Welcome everyone to a fresh new episode here live of Grand Rising with ChristoLight, as we are deep diving in this very, very deep introspective week on what feels like a beautiful way to cap off these 3 episodes for this week. And that is with soul retrieval, where we're going to talk about what it looks like to have fragmentation within your auric field. We're going to talk about soul fragmentation in depth, how it can be caused, and the type of side effects that it can manifest into in our human life multidimensionally. Then we're going to talk about some of the background of what we call shamanic soul retrieval. And we're in touch with many different traditions and cultures, as well as the background and in-depth details of what it looks like to do soul retrieval and the many varieties and styles that you can participate in to receive soul retrieval or restoring fragmented parts of one's own consciousness. Now, yes, we are eternal beings, and yes, we are connected to the Creator, and we are all one. But while in this universal matrix of material and form and existence and experience, we have these vessels that are subject to change, these illusionary vessels that go through different experiences. So therefore, we have these vehicles that we operate with in these temporary experiences. And when we're present, alive, and living and conscious, then we understand that this mechanism here, it's a living organism, and it needs care. It needs self-care. It needs proper protection. It needs guidance. It needs the right kind of conditioning and programming to help sustain and bring the best quality of life that we would like to experience. So with that, there is the understanding that while in this matrix, especially in such a polarity like the third dimension, there is extreme polarities at play. And that means you're able to go through what we call soul fragmentation. And that is where you go through trauma, you go through PTSD, you go through other experiences that can cause fracturing inside of your auric field. And then with this fracturing, it can create attachments, entities, disease, disorders, and other things that can manifest. And not only can they manifest in that current life that you are incarnated in, but they can carry over and manifest as karma into your next lives that you incarnate into until it's addressed karmically and dharmically. So this is why soul retrieval is important. And soul retrieval is just one terminology for many different ways of language that represent reclaiming your power or reclaiming your sovereignty, doing cord clearing ceremonies, detaching, and bringing yourself back to your personal power. These are all similar languages when it comes to soul retrieval. So just know it's not about like a right or wrong or only one way or another to do what we call soul retrieval, but there's many, many different ways. And we're just going to touch on some of those. And with that, I also understand that I'm sure some of you guys have your own knowledge, your own wisdom and experiences as well. So feel free to put it in the comments. Feel free to share what you know and experienced with soul retrieval as well. And if you do want to hop on and share on this live, just let me know in the comments and I'll see it. And I'll go ahead and put the link in there for you guys. And you guys can hop on to share your experiences regarding soul retrieval for the collective. All right. So shamanic soul retrieval. And I'll share a little bit more a little bit later because I think we're going to have a guest be hopping on, a surprise guest with us. But just a little bit about myself. I started getting into shamanic healing back around 2014. A good friend of mine named John, he was a Life Path 33. He was a Leo Sun, Gemini Moon. He was a Reiki master at the time, and I was like 18, 19, just getting into my spirituality. And he also got initiated into a shamanic initiation as well. He went and climbed the muddy hill with no clothes and did the fasting out in the forest and did the training on sage and all that stuff. And he actually taught me how to smudge with sage. through the proper shamanic technique that he learned. And then he also taught me about Reiki, breath work, and shamanic breath work as well. And I learned quite a bit at that young age, 18, 19, really quickly. And I'm 31 now, and I've been practicing and devoted to these ways and these practices since 18, 19, basically. So my whole adulthood's been really deep initiation and practicing of these shamanic and spiritual ways of life. So that's a little bit about my background when it comes to how long and how I got into shamanic and energetic healing. And I also had a major awakening a few times through psychedelics of my past lives. Past life as a Navajo shaman named Lion Dressed Elder Sensei that died in the Spaniard War, receiving a sword through my third eye on the battlefield. And that was crazy because I was in a Reiki share group receiving Reiki, and they pulled an energetic sword out of my third eye. And that was my final healing from that lifetime. So yeah, there's quite a robust history for me on a soul level when it comes to shamanic healing and soul retrieval. And I definitely do soul retrieval with people in many different ways. I even have my own practice called Akashic Soul Origin Meditations, where we go into the Akashics, give you a guided meditation, and I help you connect with your higher self, figure out your soul origin, the star planet you're from, and then we do soul retrieval, or we do activation of the DNA, depending on what's necessary. Welcome in, everyone. Rebecca Knight, if you're here. Good to see you, sister. Reach out. I'd love to catch up with you. All right, guys, so let's dive in. Shamanic soul retrieval. What is it and how does it work? So at some point in our lives, we will be hurt by people, circumstances, and other forces that are out of our control. Whether these are self-inflicted or not, the natural response is often to want to forget that the trauma happened in the first place and to move on as quickly as possible. However, this approach often leaves people with the lingering sensation of loss, that some part of them is missing, in spite of having returned to normalcy in their lives. It may feel like low energy or vitality, or it may feel like an aching pain lodged in your body, often in the area of the heart, especially if the trauma was due to a romantic breakup. It may feel like living a zombie-like existence, in spite of all outward, vital signs being normal and healthy. In shamanism, this experience is called soul loss. Soul loss occurs when a traumatic event, be it physical or emotional, causes the energy to fragment, whereby parts of the soul flee for safety and end up trapped in the local of the trauma or lost, and adrift in the world. Soul retrieval is an ancient practice that shamans use in order to bring an individual who is suffering from soul loss back to wholeness. In order to understand how it works and whether you need it, it's necessary to first understand what triggers soul loss, what the symptoms are, and how to heal this energetic fragmentation of the self. So what causes soul loss? Now, these are just many examples, but there's many more things out there that can as well. So everyone experiences soul loss in their lifetime because human existence can be stressful and nobody escapes suffering. There's so many reasons why soul loss occurs. Some of these are the following: abuse of any form that may be emotional, physical, sexual, or mental in nature, experiencing prolonged pain, grief, or fear that could have made you feel helpless, addiction such as drug dependency, out of body, or near-death experience, seeing someone die unexpectedly, being rejected or abandoned, forced to act against one's will or moral, being caught in an accident, being in an unhealthy relationship which made one lose personal power. 10 signs that you could be experiencing soul loss currently. So if you're not sure if you could be experiencing soul loss, these are some common symptoms. You can't remember parts of your life. You are plagued by constant feelings of fear or anxiety. You may feel like there's a missing part of yourself. You have strong periods of depression. You are not sure about your purpose in life. You experience long periods of insomnia. You feel mental or physical fatigue that does not have any medical explanation. You feel lost. You have difficulty overcoming certain issues in your life. You feel like you're not in control of yourself. All right. So why does the soul fragment? So in psychology, soul loss bears similarities to disassociation, where a person experiences splitting of the psyche as a result of trauma or difficult situations. Disassociation is any of a wide array of experiences, from mild detachment from immediate surroundings to more severe detachment from physical and emotional experience. The major characteristic of all disassociative phenomena involves a detachment from reality, rather than a loss of reality as in psychosis. Is disassociation bad? Not necessarily. It's considered an essential psychological mechanism that helps people survive trauma and get through episodes of extreme stress. Disassociation is common to severe stress and tends to pass on when the stressful or traumatic event goes away. Disassociative symptoms are defined broadly and range widely from daydreaming, being lost in your thoughts, to extreme focus in work, which can activate flow states, to confusion, inability to cope with day-to-day responsibilities, and disruptive antisocial behavior. For this reason, it's important not to oversimplify disassociation as always being a bad thing. Disassociation becomes a problem when it's severe, persistent, distressing, or disabling. It is a common aspect of many mental illnesses, such as PTSD, borderline personality disorder, and major depression. From a shamanic point of view, soul loss is not necessarily a bad thing either. Your soul knows if you are capable of handling a traumatic experience or a stressful situation. The wounded part of your soul leaves your body so that you won't feel the ego annihilating fullness of that pain. Soul fragmentation protects the person undergoing some trauma or loss, shielding them from the bulk of the pain and helping the individual get through the traumatic event. It's a survival mechanism that protects your soul from being annihilated and shields the individual from the pain of physical or emotional traumas. While soul loss may have been unavoidable or necessary at the time of the trauma, neglecting the hurt, fragmented parts of the soul and going on with life with a fragmented soul leads to other issues and problems, such as depression, susceptibility to disease, behavioral patterns from unhealed trauma that lead to self-sabotage, mental illness, and addiction. Besides, it's no fun going through life feeling like a zombie. So just like with any other wound, that wounded part of the soul should at some point undergo some healing. That's where shamanic soul retrieval comes in. I'll go ahead and read this last little section, and then we'll take a break with the reading, and we're going to have a special guest joining us. So soul retrieval is the process of recovering the soul fragments and is typically performed by shamans. Soul retrieval practices exist in many cultures. Some cultures, the elders will say a prayer to their younger ones whenever they hurt themselves in order to call their souls back. In the Bon shamanic tradition of Tibet, the soul is comprised of vital energies that derive from the 5 elements: space or ether, wind, fire, water, and earth. So soul retrievals involve invoking the 5 elemental deities and displaying an altar that offers a ransom to the spirits of the lower realms who may be holding soul fragments hostage. In northern Thailand, soul retrieval rituals involve Buddhist prayer and also an altar filled with offerings, including moonshine and bonbons, to entice the soul that got frightened away by a traumatic event to come back to its owner. Shamanic cultures understand that whenever you're hurt, either physically or emotionally, it's a spiritual illness that affects the soul, which can later on turn into physical disease. This is because you lose vital life force energy when your soul fragments, and if this illness is not healed, it can manifest as a physical, emotional, or mental disease. On a collective level, soul loss is so widespread that some believe that is the root cause of many of the problems plaguing society today. Disease, abusive relationships, crime, workaholism, chronic illness, addiction, corruption, terrorism, war, and false idolization are all symptoms of soul loss. In order to help a person with a fragmented soul feel whole once again, soul retrieval is an essential part of the healing process. Once the other pieces of the soul are retrieved, the next step is reintegrating them back together, which will bring back the power and potential energy of the person. Soul retrieval and reintegration provide the following benefits. And this is why integration is a super key part of the healing journey, especially when you're involved with plant medicines and other deep energy healing. You want to make sure that you're going through a conscious process of integration or reintegration to make sure that you're able to properly overlay your blueprint or your light body into its new configuration with your material self. All right, so some signs of reintegrating and what it can feel like as you go through a reintegration. You'll feel grounded, energized, awake, and more alive. You notice that you have greater influence in the world. You'll notice that you become more aware of decision, choices, and behaviors. You'll attract more healthier relationships and more happier people and people that appreciate you as well. You'll become more aware of unexplainable surges of joy and lightness. You'll notice better physical well-being and lesser sickness. You'll sleep better. You'll be more equipped to battle addictive tendencies, have more awareness. You'll feel a sense of belongingness and wholeness. And then you'll also have better mental clarity. All right. So we're going to now take a pause on our reading. And we'll be right back, and we'll have our special guest joining us. Jackie, what's going on, girl?
Hey, Marcus. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. It's a beautiful day outside. No complaints at all.
It's a beautiful day, I got to say. We're calling our soul fragments back today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Such an important and necessary part, of our work that needs to be done here.
No doubt. So, I'm not sure how much you got to tune in to this beginning portion, but man, we were just hitting things right on the money today so far on just really bringing that clarity of, what soul retrieval is and how it is that we can go through these experiences of soul fragmentation while we're in the illusion of life. And it's tricky because, it's like this great paradox in life where we're all whole and that we're one, that we're all connected and things of that nature. But then there's also the element of being in the illusion while in the all, so to say. And while we're plugged into this illusion or in the matrix, there's an understanding that this character, this human character that we are, it goes through the illusions of experience, which means it can go through change, it can go through pain, it can go through pleasure, it can go through wounds in real time, in living time. And then that living time continues karmically. And that's where the real deep understanding of soul retrieval comes in, is that life isn't just black and white. There's the in-between of free will. And with free will, there's cause and effect. And with cause and effect, there's symptoms, there's manifestations that take place. And boy, it just gets so deep.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to hand it over to you and give you the space to share anything that you feel called regarding soul retrieval and any experiences as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's like you said, it's all part of this, amazing divine dance that we're all involved with. Yeah. But yeah, soul retrieval is such a necessary part of this reintegration process that a lot of us are being called to, experience and partake in right now. And yeah, I'd be honored to share some of my experiences and how I practice this. I am a shaman. I do shamanic work. So soul retrieval is one of my specialties that I do. But yeah, so I also will go into trance. I do use offerings. I use all of the elements when I'm doing this work. I use plant medicines too sometimes if I feel called to do that. Tobacco, cannabis. Sometimes I use sound as well. It all helps with the trance process. And so once I'm in a trance, I'm in the quantum field, and I'm sort of just magnetizing these parts back towards me. And once I become aware of them, a lot of the times they will show up as either like separate individuals, like separate characters or people, although I know it's either just a part of me or the other person. And once I become aware of them, I just completely open my heart to them, and welcome them back home. And once they feel safe enough to do that, then you're aware that they become present with you again. So you can feel that presence again. And that's really where the reintegration process starts to happen too. Once you call these parts back and they start to become reintegrated with you, you also will need to go through the healing process for these parts that they require in order to be healed. And that all depends on, the trauma and the experiences that these parts had went through or experienced. So it varies, that part of it does. But yeah, that's pretty much like in a nutshell, I guess, how I perform this task. And it's very beautiful. And it's, again, a really necessary thing for us to do in order to come back into that state of fullness and wholeness within the self. So yeah, I guess that's what I have to share about my own experiences. And thank you for allowing me to share in this space.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Thank you for wanting to come on and share. I mean, it's just very valuable to share our perspectives and share the things that we have available and experiences that we've been through, just to help others be able to either, confirm something inside their self or help people feel more comfortable and see that, okay, there are others out there that live this way. There's others out there that have experienced these things and they've had good benefits and positive things come from it. And that's something I feel like we got to emphasize more in this society is sharing our good experiences of these kind of topics, because these topics get a lot of taboo and it gets a lot of negative dogmatic perspectives thrown at it. And when it really comes down to it, these ways are very, very kind, very loving, very, how do I explain it? Very like non-invasive, non-pressurizing ways of being able to go through your process. But what I've also found is it's been more effective going this way. Shamanic, energetic, spiritual, however you'd like to say it, holistic. It's all been a more, I would say, effective, gentle, loving, and supportive process for my own self than it has been going into a pharmaceutical or mainstream medicine way. And I think that's something to really highly consider for all of ourselves is, if people are finding tremendous success in ways that are very loving and compassionate on their being during the process, it's kind of a big deal compared to what we're used to in this Western medicine world when it comes to our healing process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we even heal at all, like Western medicine, we're oftentimes is stuck on a cycle of pharmaceuticals, and that's what we do the rest of our life.
Yeah, not
And
healing
it's a
the
big
root,
difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. Would you like to touch
And
on that a little bit?
Yeah, I would like to add that, I'd love to do more to like remove the stigma from this work. It's not evil or bad, like it's portrayed a lot of the times. People fear what we don't understand. And a lot of this work has been, unfortunately, stigmatized by, certain organizations and religious groups over the time periods. And, we forgive all of that too, But yeah, it is just, it's so important to do this work instead of, just like you were saying, cover it up with pharmaceuticals or, and I'm not against medication. Like that's definitely necessary at some points, right? But it's also very helpful to be able to really go in and heal these ailments from their root causes, so we don't just have to continue that cycle and, you know, perpetuate the need to use medications and stuff. Because yeah, when you're able to heal these things from the root, you no longer need the medication, because it's, you know, it's all about like reintegration, really, at the end of the day. Like most medical ailments are, you know, stemming from some sort of spiritual cause. So yeah.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, there's a time and place, I guess, with the way that our society is in this moment, where pharmaceuticals can help, like, at least keep someone alive. But from the standpoint of healing, that's not where we should be looking when it comes to healing. And that's the difference. Like, you know, we got to know what's for healing and what's for like last resort to keep you surviving when you're in a state of near death or something of that nature. And what's been going on is we've had people hooked on the things that are just here to help you survive and be able to just not pass or transition. So it's like, it's cool, you know, if someone's really in that threatening place to be having those. But then we got to kind of take that next step as medical professionals. Like, now after this step of keeping you in survival, it got you able to now be surviving. Now let's work on giving you some things that can rehabilitate you through nutritional value and things of that nature. And I look forward to those days. I feel those days coming, and I know that it's going to be coming where our hospitals are really going to be changing, and we're going to be getting care like that, where it's going to be a lot more goal-oriented, step-by-step. This is how we're going to get you completely rehabilitated from this way of life, rather than, well, we don't know exactly how you can fix this or heal from it, but here you go. We're going to give you these, and here's all these side effects. And then we're also not going to give you a timetable of when it is that we're going to get you off of these, or if there even is a goal to get you off of these in the first place. And yeah, like I said, I trust in the change to come. That's for sure. So I'm gonna play a little video, and this video is going to be about the 5 stages of soul retrieval healing. And basically, this is another person's perspective, and they're going to be sharing what they feel like is 5 different stages that we can kind of pay attention to tell if we're going through different stages of what we call soul retrieval.
There's a lot of chatter about the ancient practice of soul retrieval, but how does it really work? What are its stages? Can anyone do it, or just an experienced shaman? Today, we're revealing everything about this healing process that shamans have practiced for thousands of years. Let's dive in. First stage, dissociation. As the name suggests, soul retrieval is about recovering a piece of our soul. But what exactly is that piece, and why do we lose it? When we go through an intense or painful experience that we can't integrate, a dissociation happens in our spiritual mind. Dissociation means we stop feeling the experience. We disconnect from the part of our consciousness that is feeling it. Basically, we disconnect from our own consciousness. The part of our conscious field starts wandering, disconnected from us and tied to that traumatic or painful experience. This part of consciousness is what soul retrieval calls a piece of the soul. And what does losing pieces of our soul mean? It doesn't sound good. We lose consciousness, vitality, joy, inspiration. The less soul we have, the more mechanical and robotic our life becomes, more frustrating and dull. But let's move on. What happens to that piece of soul? Where does it go? Second stage, the fall into the underworld. The piece of soul is connected to a past experience, and all past experiences flow in the river of time to the underworld, the world of the past, the unconscious, the dense and rigid. In the world of the past, all our life experiences are stored. All of them. The experiences we couldn't integrate take a piece of our consciousness down there to the underworld. This means two things. First, it creates energetic cords with the world of the past, creating karma. This makes your present strongly influenced by past experiences. Instead of living in the present, you're still dealing with past remnants. These energetic cords drain our energy, make us feel heavy, guilty, and angry about past things. And secondly, if we want to recover our piece of soul and break the energetic cord with the past, we need to journey into the underworld through a shamanic or healing inner journey. In theory, everyone has the potential to journey to the underworld and retrieve their soul pieces, but in practice, not everyone develops the skills. So shamans have provided this service for millennia. The first step to descend to the underworld is the struggle. You need to be awake, active, vital, present, because going to the lower world is like swimming in very dense water. You'll need to overcome resistance to reach the depth where the soul piece is stuck. The greater the trauma, the deeper it goes. For this journey, you must be very alert so that evil spirits you encounter don't infect you with fear or doubt, as that will sap your strength, preventing you from reaching the soul peace. And I always make this journey with the help of my spirit guides and totem animals. They give me strength and guide me in the darkness to find the soul peace. The shaman uses drums, uniforms, amulets, all to help enter a deep trance and gain more power in the lower world. When you reach the depth where the soul piece is stuck, you can stop descending. You've reached the place where the magic happens. Third stage, approaching the past experience. The soul piece is trapped in the core of an energetic sphere. That energetic sphere is the sensitive and emotional charge you couldn't integrate, meaning the emotions, images, taste, sensations of the traumatic experience. The key here is to open yourself to feeling without judging, without identifying. If you judge and reject the experience, you will bounce back and never reach the core. And if you identify with the emotions or memories, you'll start crying or feeling a lot of emotions, and you'll stay on the emotional level. You'll start creating thoughts, internal dialogue, ideas, and interpretations about what happened. And in doing so, you won't reach the core. Stay open, confident, observe the whole experience, remembering it's transitory and that you are not the experience. This way, you'll advance through the field of painful experience to the core. And when you're there at the core, you will have to make one last effort. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to enter. You'll feel it breaking, and you'll access its interior, where you will find the soul piece vibrating and present. And then what? Ready to move on. Stage 4, the reunion with your soul and forgiveness. At that moment, you'll integrate that soul piece into yourself. You'll feel an intense surge of energy entering you. It's a return home. So cool. But the journey isn't over yet. Once the soul piece is integrated, it's time to let go of that painful experience. It's time to offer it to the spirits, to leave it in the underworld forever. Here's the thing. When we carry past traumas for a long time, they become part of the core of our personality. So at this moment, we have to let a part of ourselves die. It's a moment of surrender and trust. It's a very painful moment where we have to recognize that what we thought was super painful, super important, and super real. In reality, it was nothing. It never was and never will be. That recognition is what we call forgiveness, which destroys the energetic cord and lets go of the experience forever. And in that moment, we are free and ready to return to the material world. But it's not over just yet. Stage 5, integration and post-healing. Soul retrieval is a powerful healing process that brings significant changes to your energy bodies. Now, those changes will propagate vertically through all your subtle bodies until they reach the physical one. This means there will be an adaptation period where you might feel more tired than usual, catch a slight cold so your body can expel toxins, feel emotionally unstable or down, lose motivation or drive for a while, feel a lack of stability and security, experience changes in appetite, even a lack of it. All these symptoms are indicators of a deep adjustment in your psyche and body. So be patient and let the process complete. Don't expect everything to end in the soul retrieval session. And there you have it, my dear friends, the process of soul retrieval as you've never heard it before. I have practiced hundreds of these recovery sessions, both on myself and the people I heal, and the results are simply incredible. Remember, the first step to conquering the heavens is to free ourselves from the burden of the past and to recompose our soul. Then, renewed, joyful, full of vitality and determination, our path to the stars will be simply inevitable.
All right. So let's finish off our first article, and thank you to our surprise guest, Jackie, out of the Sacred Kingdom. You guys can find her profile on the sacredkingdom.com website. Our worldwide community of practitioner, readers, space holders, conscious creators, and musicians as well. sacredkingdom.com. You can reach it through the link in my description down below and in the ticker as well through my link page. So we're going to wrap up our first article that we were reading through about shamanic soul retrieval, and then we'll be making our way over into the Ascension Glossary by Lisa Renee, where we'll talk about soul fragmentation in depth. So we're going to talk about here why psychotherapy may not be enough to help heal soul loss. So psychotherapy is often used to help treat disassociation, While this can work in some people, it may not result in a return to wholeness in others. This is because psychotherapy only addresses the dissociative symptoms in the individual as it pertains to the patient's emotional or mental state. Psychotherapy rarely addresses the spiritual component, let alone recognize the existence of a soul or energy body. Therefore, it rarely addresses solutions that may lie in the realms of the collective unconscious. From the shamanic point of view, psychotherapy does not address the person from a holistic level, that of spiritual being who is having a human experience. In comparison, shamanism considers soul loss as a spiritual illness that causes emotional sickness and physical disease as a result of a trauma or stress, fragments of the soul, crucial parts of ourselves that provide us with life and vitality, can leave the energy body and go wander in different dimensional realms. The said realms are more often than not inaccessible because these are guarded by heavy defenses. People may not or have difficulty accessing these on their own, and this is where shamans can help. So, shamanic healing through soul retrieval, how does it work? Shamans have always been the healers and psychologists of their communities. As Sandra Ingerman writes in her book, Soul Retrieval, Mending the Fragmented Self, around the world and across many countries, a person who deals with the spiritual aspect of illness is a shaman. A shaman diagnoses and treats illnesses, divines information, communicates and interacts with the spirit world, and helps souls cross over to the other world. Because of their ability to navigate the spirit world, shamans can guide you through these realms to help retrieve the lost fragments of your soul. A shaman will enter trance states together with the affected person. Together they will journey through the spirit worlds, accompanied by spirit helpers, setting the intention to retrieve the lost parts of the soul. And that's where a lot of, spirit animal medicine comes in, as well as the archangels and other guides. And I'm actually going to talk about one of the primary guides that you can connect with to do soul retrieval as well. And this journey is narrated to the client, or it could be also visualized through active imagination. These journeys may involve encounters with dark energies that may show themselves as dangerous beasts like monsters, reptiles, or dragons. The beasts in question are the guardians of the soul, or known as defense mechanisms in psychotherapy. Successfully retrieving the fragmented parts of the soul means having to overcome these dark energies. Once the shaman and the client are able to retrieve the missing parts of the soul, the shaman will reintegrate these back together with the client. Reintegration can be done several ways, such as by blowing the energy back inside the body with things like tobacco and other energy, through a ceremony, or it could also be done with the use of cognitive tools like inner child work or subconscious reprogramming and therapy. You don't have to go through life feeling lost or wondering why it feels like there is a missing part of you. With the help of soul retrieval, you can reintegrate your soul and get to experience what it feels like to be thriving and whole once again. I love that. You don't have to always be an addict in your life. You don't always have to be wounded. You don't have to always be healing. And you don't have to always be in pain. Those are all just limited beliefs that we have taken on from not being in a healed state. And I got nothing but love for all of you. And I love all of you guys out there. And if you want one-on-one soul retrieval like practices, just reach out to me, because I do share these type of shamanic spaces. And you guys can hear a little bit about my journey in the beginning of the episode, so if you watch the replay. And that's the book right there, Soul Retrieval, Mending the Fragmented Self by Sarah Ingerman. All right, now we're going to go turn over to ascensionglossary.com, written by Lisa Renee, and the wonderful work that she has brought to service for us. And as always, take it or leave it. If it resonates, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that is okay as well. And these links are down below in the description for you guys to do your own research as well. So, soul fragmentation. The more soul fragmented and damaged a person's energetic body is operating, the more disordered and incoherent the thoughts and behaviors become. So these deviations are manifested into addictions, perversions, and a wide array of damaging personality disorders or alternate identities that can be well observed in the individual as destructive to the self and destructive to others. When one is continually destructive towards the self or others, eventually the soul matrix layers fragment and split apart. Sometimes they are attached into other timelines and negative entities. When a human being is soul split, they will exhibit mental confusion and tendencies that are called narcissism, schizophrenia, dissociative personality, sociopath, along with a lack of empathy for others. An array of psychological distortions that potentially lead to insanity. See negative ego for studying stages of pathology. So insanity is a description of consciousness fragmentation that generates the existence of hell realms inside the mind, and is how easily recognized bodily possession through satanic or anti-life behaviors that are controlled by the possessing entities, such as one of the collective negative thought forms of the fallen angelics. Insanity is a diseased mind as the consequence of a traumatized or disconnected soul, which leads to being to choose to continuously inflict destructive and harm to the self and others. If continual destructive, spiritually abusive behavior is not stopped or healed, it will damage the soul further through mental fragmentation and genetic degradation. Insanity is a way to define negative behaviors which create soul destruction. Those soul-inflicted actions which ultimately disconnect the body and mind from the soul matrix. We describe these behaviors in ES as the archonic deception behavior, which are groomed anti-life behaviors targeting humanity through technological mind control, being transmitted in the lowest frequencies possible and controlled by the negative agenda. When an entity, human or non-human, is soul disconnected, they tend towards experiences with an unquenchable thirst of desire, addiction, black depression, pain, and suffering at great levels combined with alternating into dissociative states. This is the description of the internal pain and suffering of a satanic entity or soul-fragmented human being, many which seek addictive states in order to gain relief from their personal inner turmoil. Severe soul damage, mind control enslavement through mental fragmentation, with genetic biological destruction of an entire species is not a God-ordained energetic rebalancing of karmic power abuses in their accumulative cause and effect from other lifetimes. However, in order to permanently heal these destructive and deviant behaviors, which include the mainstreaming of Satanism that is rampant in global society at the individual levels of the microcosmic blueprint, these blueprint distortions, or the consciousness grid damage, must be corrected at the planetary, macrocosmic blueprint levels to assist in the spiritual healing of the collective solar matrix of humanity. Fragmentation causes negative entity attachments. So additionally, when a living thing is being tormented by another for the purpose of causing extreme pain or suffering, the mind and soul can fracture into pieces. Those fragmented pieces can remain trapped in phantom pockets that are controlled by the negative entity. This can happen at multiple dimensions of existence and stations of identity that are connected with the consciousness of that spiritual energetic being. The soul fragmented the being, the more disconnected and less evolved the consciousness becomes. Through entropy, the consciousness sinks into the most primitive layers of the existence, survival fears. Fragmentation may continue after the consciousness has transitioned from the physical body. This is the primary goal of the negative agenda that attempt to enslave human consciousness, setting consciousness traps in order to elicit pain, confusion, or terror when exiting the physical body. And satanic ritual abuse, the rape, torture, killing of an animal or a human for the purpose of collecting the energy loosh produced during the blood sacrifice event, and to bind the human energy field with attachments, which can be fed upon by the black hole entities. They form attachments from the negative energy they have consumed, binding with the soul and spirit fragments that make up the consciousness of that person. Many of these negative entities consume negative emotional energy to enable their presence in the multidimensional layers of the earth field. Because of their vibrational incompatibility with human frequency levels, they must rely on consuming the energy loosh and sometimes the blood of a living creature for maintaining their existence. The important lesson is to comprehend is that the destructive expressions of negative ego feeds into hatred vibrations, such as the intent to harm and the violent killing of other living things, actually fragments consciousness and feeds into the alien machinery reversals to build up negative emotional energy for siphoning. We do not want to co-create negative emotional energy to be fed upon by these negative entities or to directly feed the inverted systems that produce loosh energy for supporting the negative agenda. The most productive thing we can do is to take steps to clear negative ego and our pain body so that we will not be triggered by mind control programs or AI broadcasts and fall into their consciousness traps. When we build spiritual strength through mental and emotional discipline, we are instead capable of holding a neutral space and remain calm within the chaos. We can choose to practice unconditional love, peace, harmlessness. This helps to integrate and heal our fragments, to unify with our soul and spirit, as well as neutralize any negative emotional energy in the environment. When we stop feeding the energy reversals in the environment, they are transformed and gradually taken offline. The feed line of the parasitized energy throughout the food chain stops, essentially starving them by denying them access to the energetic power source, which is you and I. When we can hold compassionate witnessing and refuse to be triggered into negative emotional states, we are refusing to be manipulated and siphoned by the negative agenda, as well as others. Additionally, true empathetic and unconditionally loving humans may also gain the spiritual power to recollect and transit the consciousness fragments of sacrificed children and traumatized souls that are trapped in the earth realms. And this is an important service that we can do to help heal the earth. So I wanted to click on harmlessness to help give some perspective of how we can help reintegrate our soul fragments and to basically use actions, behaviors that can create less karma or no karma so that we can stop being siphoned from and have our energy drained from us. So harmlessness, learning to communicate with soul and spirit and act upon its guidance will lead you to live a life congruent with your spiritual plan, one which behaves with harmlessness to others. Harmlessness is another way to say karmicless. Harmlessness and effortlessness are core energetic principles that reflect how spirit moves in time and space, based in universal law. Thus, we seek to emulate the qualities of harmlessness and effortlessness to connect with spirit in our HGS session and in every area of our lives. So harmlessness is another way to say, okay, we just read that. Okay, so in this way, you can become efficient with energy management and stop the karmic footprint from repeating destructive patterns on the earth. This also stops the pattern of destructive patterns with people in your life. The real spiritual self will not direct you to attack or intentionally harm another being, ever. The spiritual intelligence knows that all energy in the universe is love and is balanced at some point in time, and that nothing justifies harm. Harm has an energetic consequence of karmic imbalance, and if intentional harm is directed to hurt others or the self, the energy will be returned to the being at some point in time to make amends. This means you will get more loads of karmic lessons and destructive patterns to balance in your life experience and within your relationships with others. Your spirit wants to evolve and stop the karmic generating process and will lead you to learn these steps. This is not punishment, it is the law of responsibility, a law of which most humans have forgotten. All of us are ultimately responsible for how we have directed the energetic consciousness we have been given while in a bodily form. Many of us doing energy session or spiritual work will find trauma from other lifetimes where this harm has been generated towards others, or we have received harm from others. Generally, harm is generated from ignorance and our own perceived disconnection from others. At this time, we can clear, heal, and resolve all harm that has been made in all relationships, bringing energetic balance to ourselves and the others involved. When coming to observe such circumstances in one's healing process, become the compassionate witness. Know that the cycle is ending, and we are witnessing many different levels of harm that have been perpetrated over aeons of time. Humans are making the choice to live congruent with their spiritual source, and now can learn again to live in harmlessness. The quickest way to evolve and clear energetic imbalance is to be of genuine service to others and attempt to show sincere kindness and harmlessness to everyone. Because of the challenging nature to penetrate the incredible obstacles and negative control that is placed to prevent empowerment from awareness, being easily available to the masses, conservation ethics are also about living with a goal of acting harmless towards yourself and others. Conservation ethic is a mastery skill that anyone will benefit from learning how to apply in absolutely every area of personal lifestyle. All interrelationships, as well as the successful management of any type of currency or resource. So, conservation ethics. Being able to discern the right use of action and resources. Being aware of conservation ethic is about harnessing precious time and life force energies to be able to be more effective and impactful through direct focus and right timing. These skills expand and differ slightly as one develops, living harmlessly and applying conservation ethic in the management of the personal self, the management of children and family, the management of group resources, the management of community. As this planet is ending the waste of consumptive modeling and energetic vampirism, our management of group resources, the management of community. So as the ending of the waste of consumptive modeling and energetic vampirism architecture as directed by dark forces to adapt to the shift, we will be required to develop energetic conservation skills, as well as learning the art of living harmlessly. Cultivate the wisdom in learning how to engage or apply action and when to not engage with others, especially within conflicting circumstances. When neutralizing conflicts, we can apply win-win scenarios of compassionate communication to which both parties are treated with respect
and the intention is harm to none. No person needs to justify their existence to another or to care what people think or judge upon them. Staying clear of emotional tantrums, drama, and not engaging means in not feeding the drama to escalate into chaos. Drama is another type of potential harm that can escalate negativity in a variety of ways. Dark forces use drama and conflict to instigate schisms and chaos between yourself and others, making us less effective, distracting us, and scattering our energies. This is a dark force ego tactic of divide and conquer, to spin out confusion and prevent unity. Conserving energy means a stronger focus, and one becomes more effective and productive with managing personal energies. When we learn this skill, we gain access to more resources and improved exchanges to connect with our spiritual sources. If we waste time and energy, we abuse our spiritual energies or others, we reach an energy threshold that cannot be increased, draining us, and therefore it'll dissipate into positive influence, or it'll dissipate its positive influence. And then it says harmlessness is true Christianity. So the interpersonal Christ is inherently available inside every human being, man, woman, or child, that chooses to live dedicated to cultivating heart-based virtue, dedicated to serve God with reverence for all life, which works in alignment with the spirits of Christ. No intention to harm oneself or another with malice can be the present of the Spirit of God or true original Christianity embody. That's also saying that doing rituals and drinking things like blood is not act. It is up to you, through your free will, through your mind and your actions in your daily life, to embody and live a Christ-like life. And you cannot escape that through consuming something or reading something. You have to do it through your living actions. And that is the law of responsibility. And I'll let you guys check this graphic out right here. Harmlessness and effortlessness. What that looks like. We have the inner spirit guidance always acts harmlessness towards self and others. Only defends. Spirit avoids increasing karmic entanglements. Evolution is accelerated through harmlessness via accepting responsibility for life patterns and accountable towards actions. Natural law is to conserve energy, to maximize impact, be fluid in motion. Shift paradigm of grueling work to effortless to maximize energy efficiency. Nature moves effortlessly to generate power, emulate nature. Develop energetic effortlessness and maximize output efficiency by prioritizing your task. I love that. Prioritize your daily tasks. Are you giving energy to things that you don't need to give energy to and that are ultimately draining you? Or are you maximizing what you're interacting with and holding boundaries on the things that are draining you? And if you don't have routines, I always reavert people, especially my clients, to what are your routines in your day-to-day life? Do you even have daily routines? If you don't have daily routines, then it's likely that you're circulating your life around something in the world or something outside of you. And that's ruling your life. It's holding rent inside your head. It's holding your emotions. And it's causing you to physically move slow and to physically not feel as well as you should be. So think about those things. Maybe even grab a journal and journal these things out. And think about what is causing strain on your life. What is causing you to be aggressive or angry? What is causing you to have more effort than you would like to have? Now, yes, sometimes we got to put some effort to grow and to continue to develop and build things. But when we say effort, we're talking like from the sense of, boy, this is just extreme effort and it's draining me. Is it even people and their expectations, their projections, their judgments? Is it the job? Is it the lack of boundaries and communication that we're not speaking up with? Things of that nature. And then reducing mental and physical stress increases receptivity to creative solutions and to resolve problems. Now, there's some tools for the tool belt for activating more harmlessness and effortlessness into your life to support soul retrieval. And then to wrap up, I wanted to connect you with one of our wonderful ascended spirit guides that you can connect with in this human life. And that is Anubis, Ampu, great ancient Egyptian known figure that is a beautiful canine being, spiritual being of Sirius or the Syrian star planet. And Anubis is known as Chiron as well, the wounded healer, the shaman. And he's also known as the Lord of the Underworld. So to be really short, Anubis, in his origin story, he was born by Isis's sister. Isis's sister was with Set or Set, and she ended up having Anubis with Osiris. And then she abandoned, quote unquote, Anubis so that Isis could raise Anubis in a safe and proper setting for Anubis to be able to become his greatest self. So since Nephthys had to leave Anubis over to Isis, he had created and developed a abandonment wound. As life went on growing up with Isis, he learned that quote-unquote abandonment actually had to happen for the greatness of all, so that Anubis could be raised properly by Isis. So there's more to it when it comes to our wounds. Something may be a wound at one point, but then when we get to the point where we can become more conscious of it, we can acknowledge the stepping stone that it was to the next phase of our life. That is what Anubis helps us with. So he's revered as the guardian of the threshold, guide through the underworld, and the custodian of the soul journey. He helps souls through life and death and the afterlife. In Kemet, the soul is multifaceted. There's the Ba, which is personality and individual, the Ka, which is life force, and the Ak, which is transformed immortal spirit. So Anubis was the guide of the Ba through the Duat, ensuring the soul's integrity and safe passage. He presides over the weighing of the heart in the hall of Ma'at, measuring the heart against the feather of Ma'at to determine moral worthiness. If the heart was light, the soul could proceed. If heavy, it would return for purification. Modern spiritual role. Today, Anubis is invoked as a spirit guide for soul retrieval, helping individuals reconnect with their true selves, release attachments, and navigate the liminal spaces between worlds. His jackal form symbolizes vigilance, protection, and the ability to move between light and shadow. How he can aid soul retrieval. So he watches over the gates between life and death, helping you cross safely. He guides through the Duat. In metaphors, this is the inner journey of self-discovery and release. It can help you face hidden aspects of yourself and unresolved trauma. Measures of truth. His role as the weighing ceremony can be applied to the personal true work, ensuring you are honest and aligned with your soul purpose. Protector of the soul. He shields against negative influences and helps preserve your spiritual integrity during retrieval. Practical way. Create a sacred space with black stones, incense, herbs like myrrh and frankincense, and honor his role of mummification and protection. So you can use this for psychological breakthroughs, psychological healing. You can do it through emotional wounds as well, and physical healing. So you can visualize connecting with Anubis and visualize, the black dog presence. You can do a ritual of invocation. There's many you can find online. You can do shadow work with some journaling, writing down your shadows, your flaws, your traumas, and the parts that you would like to heal and the reasons why. And then you can offer candle and crystals as well. So working with him respectfully can clear intentions. With clear intentions can bring powerful pathways for healing, releasing, and reunion with your true higher self. That is Anubis. Call him on. It's one of my favorite guides for sure. All right, guys. So as we close out, we're going to wrap up with a beautiful 6-minute guided meditation to help remove blockages and toxic energies and to reclaim your personal power. So get yourself comfortable, get ready, and just release and surrender as we close. And I will see you guys again soon. Tune in on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern for the first episode of the Galactic Guidance News Report, as we are going to be giving you the lowdown on how to step into Lionsgate next week, as well as tap in with the day of no space and no time in the Galactic Maya. See you guys then, Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
This guided meditation will release energies and emotions and attachments that are not of your field. This can be ex-partners, co-workers, environments, or any interactions you wish to release from all of your bodies. Let us begin. Find a comfortable seat, whether on a chair, on the floor, but sit straight up. If you are on a chair, be sure to scoot forward so that nothing is covering your back. Take a deep breath in and a deep exhale out. Place your hands palm up on your lap and close your eyes. Deep breath in. Deep exhale out. We are all made up of energy. Everything from our emotions, our thoughts, and our physical bodies. Keep breathing. When we interact with others, or even focus on a person, place, or event too long, we create energetic cords. This is a simple clearing, and it's guided that you do this first thing in the morning and right before bed. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Energy follows intention. It is law. Follow along with me. Speak it out loud or in your head, but do so with meaning and conviction. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Here we go. Any and all energies that are not my own, I send back, blessed and transmuted now. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We're going to do this again. Please be very aware of your body, the pressure around the head and the upper torso especially. Here we go. Any and all energies that are not my own, I send back, blessed and transmuted now. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. It's very common to feel pressure and even small but sharp pains in the back. This is natural energetic release. Now we are going to call back your energy. Whenever we invest time, emotions, or thoughts into anything, we give pieces of our energy away. Let's reclaim them. Follow along with me. Be very aware of your body and say it with conviction. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Here we go. I lovingly call back all of my own energies. May they be blessed, transmuted, and healthily reintegrated into my bodies now. Be very aware of your body. There tends to be an increase in heat and pressure. Let's do this again. Mean it. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. I lovingly call back all of my own energies. May they be blessed, transmuted, and healthily reintegrated into my bodies now. Very good. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Put your right hand over your heart and say, I love you. I love you. I love you. I am safe. I am protected. Now and always. May this serve you. May this bless you.
(2023) Mother Gaia, third dimensional planet, ascending. Thank you from the Sacred Light Broadcast Network and Sacred Light Productions for tapping in and tuning in to all live and replay content, holistic, conscious, for your empowerment. Tap in to the Christ light within. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember that you are the one that you have been looking for. Enjoy this content. If you would like to collaborate or receive production through myself, Marcus ChristoLight, direct message or email me at marcustut23@gmail.com to discuss details. Wholeness and balanced love. Ashe.